Welcome back to Microeconomics YouTube channel. So we are starting from where we start, right? Yeah. So today we'll be looking at the balance. One of the things we'll be looking at today is balanced budget multiplier. So what does it mean for a budget to be balanced, right? So it simply means the tax revenue, right, is the same as the government expenditure. That is T equals G. T equals G. So thankfully we've done some calculations here from the previous class. So what we are just going to do now is whenever we have G, you just change it to T. Like since they are the same thing, right? So for example, you can do it two ways. You can do G, like change the whole thing to G or change the whole thing to P. So it depends on what you want. Okay, for me, I want to change everything to T because at the end of the day, the multipliers are going to be the same thing. So there's a tax here. This is government spending, but we know that tax and government spending are equal. So I'll just change this guy here. This one becomes tax 2 T, right? They are the same value. So T as well. Then here too we have a T. And then so by the time we get to this point, this one too is a T here. Okay, okay. Now this guy too is a T. So let me write the T in front of this one. T now. So now I converted the whole thing to Z, in the other class. So I'm still going to convert to Z, just that now like we took something out of this place. Like, and this whole thing can just be a plus. So like everything here now is what I'm converting to Z. So everything here. So if you look at the T is still outside. So we have Z minus C1 plus whatever, then we are going to be having plus T. Okay. If you change it to G, like you are going to be having the same answer at the end of the day. So now by the time we are collecting T out, so this is plus M2, there's minus this, then there's a plus T. Is a plus T. So by the time I'm doing this, by the time I'm doing our divide the T, right? If you look at it, I'm not putting plus T inside this bracket. Why? Because this minus plus T has a plus sign on its own. So if I bring it here, except I want to make it a minus. Okay, if I make it a minus T, and if I bring it in, it becomes a minus T. So minus times minus is still plus. Okay, still works. It still works. Okay, but let me just leave it this way. So Z is here. So this Z still disappears, right? So now we have a minus here, C1 minus. Then this T here becomes a 1. Are we following? So like another way to rewrite this, so we are now going to be having 1 minus, right? 1 like as in minus this times this minus C1, then minus times this plus M2 divided by, you can say it is the same as the denominator plus M2. So they cancel out. The whole thing is 1. So balance budget multiplier is 1. So dy dt, so I can just say dy dt equals dy dg equals 1 when t equals g. That is when you have a balanced budget. Okay, so what this is trying to tell us, the implication of this is that if we were to like increase, if you look at it, it is not, there's no minus, right? So whenever you have a balanced budget, if you like increase the government spending, as long as you are increasing both correspondingly. So if you increase, let's say you increase government spending by 20%, and then you also increase tax revenue by 20%. So you have 20% more money, then you spend 20% more money. Like the net effect is still zero. So it is trying to tell you that your equilibrium income will only change by the amount of the change in the balance budget. Your equilibrium income, because it is one, right? So like if like what I did the other time, so this is going to be dy now. Dy is going to be equal to, the multiplier is 1, it's going to be equal to 1 dt. Like if I divide it equals 1, then I put it this way. So if tax will change by 20%, your equilibrium income will also change by 20%. That's the point. If that should reduce by 5%, your equilibrium income or GDP will also reduce by 5%. So that's the meaning. So the balance budget multiplier is 1. Is 1. Okay. And I've told you the implication of that. So the same thing, if the government spending is changing by 10%, then definitely, if it's increasing by 10%, then definitely the equilibrium GDP will be increasing by 10%, as well. So and so on and so forth, as long as T is equal to G. So as simple as ABC. Now the last one that is now like the biggest one of all is income tax. So when you have an income tax, how do you calculate the multiplier? What's the multiplier going to be? And would you be having any funny thing and stuff like that? Okay, so let's give it a try. Yeah, so now we've gone back to when T was TY. So we are looking at per income tax multiplier. As funny as it sounds, I don't think I've ever said something like this in a textbook. But like sometimes you just have to be like a prophet. It may be somewhere that you don't know, that we don't know, and then it may not be anywhere, and then may just have reason, of course, to discuss something like this in the future. All right. So recall, when we're trying to look for the government spending multiplier, we got this. Right, we were working with the per income tax rate, then per income tax rate per your level of income. So all of our tax rates was able to be at the denominator. So that time we did D over G. G became 1, then over all of these I say. Are we following? But now, so what we are going to do is Y equals the tax that we want to find that I want to find its multiplier is the denominator. It's not like others. So how do we treat this guy? So we have Y equals, let's make everything here to be Z. So Z over, then let me just try to like multiply this guy out. 1 minus B, 1 minus B, minus times minus plus BT. It is now looking dirty. It's looking dirty. So Y equals, so let me make all of this Z over 1 minus B, minus times minus, so plus BT, then plus M, plus times minus MT. Okay, so what you want is here. So what do we do? So if you remember is it quotient rule now or something? But I don't want to use quotient rule, like this is too much. This is too small for a quotient rule. So I'm just kind of going to do this. Z equals Z. I bring everything up. I have 1 minus B plus BT plus M minus MT. Everything raised to power minus 1. Okay. So dy dt. But all the things I've been doing, they've been partial derivatives. I didn't even like take notes. They've been partial derivatives. So now let's just do dy. Partial derivative is meant to be like dy dt. Okay, no, it should be this t now because the tax rate dy dt. Okay, well, I think I've been using this change in this. Okay, it's fine if that's how I've been using. So it's still the same thing. So like when you are doing normal differentiation, like you just d straight one. But when it is a partial, when you have other variables besides the one that you are differentiating with respect to, so it's going to be a slanted dy dt. So it's still the same thing anyway. Minus 1 comes here, so I have minus z into bracket 1 minus b plus bt plus m minus mt. This is raised to power minus 1 minus, so minus 2, then multiply by, I differentiate anything that has t inside it. So I have b, this one is there with b, I have minus m, so minus m. Okay, so my the t now equals, so minus z into bracket b minus m, everything divided by, so this guy comes back, it was this that was expanded, and I can still put it that way. So 1 minus b plus bt plus m minus mt. Everything is now going to be, this is minus 2, so this is going to be square. Okay, so if we try to like write everything about z, so that's like we are writing the numerator. So we have dy dt equals to minus. So instead of me to put the minus, to be changing the size of this one after the other, I can just use the minus to multiply what's in the bracket. So I'm going to be having um, minus times b will give me minus b, right? Then minus times this is going to give me plus m. So I have plus m minus b, which is just uh, m minus b, right? Then into brackets So the whole thing again. The no, m minus b into bracket z. So minus times b is the minus b here. Minus times m is the m here. So I have m minus b, then into brackets everything which is c naught plus I plus g plus x, so plus m as a function of exchange real exchange rates minus m naught, right? So divided by, so I can just write as 1 minus b into brackets 1 minus t plus m 1 minus t. Okay, so everything here will be squared. So this is it. Now, theoretically, I've told you m cannot be more than b. So this minus this will definitely give you a negative number. So the negative number multiplied by all of this numerator. So the negative number is going to be lesser than 1, right? So let's say this is 0.25, this is 0.8. 0.25 minus 0.8, that's minus 0.55. So minus 0.55 multiplied by everything that is up here, right? So if everything here was like 500 billion before, so minus 0.25, or what did I even do? Anyway, that whatever you get multiplied by whatever is here, it give you a negative number, but a reduced, no. If this one was not there, now the value that would have gotten for all of this thing here would have been greater than when this guy is here. So you'll be having a reduced numerator because of m minus b, but they're still going to be negative and divided by this. So the impact is going to be kind of massive. So if you are looking at per income tax, right, and then there is a negative relationship between per income tax and um, equilibrium national income. So because of m minus b, I've told you why. So if the per income tax should increase, you'd expect a great change in the what do you call it now? A great change or a greater change in equilibrium income, even more than when the tax was lump sum. Though when the tax was lump sum, we didn't have this guy beside it. But now that the tax is per income, so you have all of these things beside it. So which means the impact here is going to outweigh that of because here the numerator is going to be a big value, right? Compared to when you didn't have all of this being multiplied by whatever it was that you had here. Okay, and then if the tax rate happens to be decreased, then we also expect a greater effect on the equilibrium, real GDP or the equilibrium income, of that economy. So that is what I've got for you guys about multipliers, right? So we've done tax multiplier, lump sum tax multiplier. We also did what do you call it now? We also did government spending multiplier, we did balance budget multiplier, and now we are doing per income tax multiplier. Okay, the investment multiplier too is there. So there, what you're just going to do is instead of divide the t, it's going to be divide the I investment. So divide the I here becomes 1. Maybe I should just even write it. So here from where is it? That's going to be from here. Yeah, I'm going to be from here. So if you have to do divide the I, so like make everything here to be z, right? So if you're having where is the green marker? Yeah, I can just write it down here. So like an addendum. So note your dy, the investments, and when you come back here, investments is just 1 over 1 minus b, then 1 minus t plus m 1 minus t. So the multiplier is same as that of the government spending multiplier, right, for investment. So if there's an export multiplier, then that's going to be like divide the x. Okay. So everything is, because everything is kind of easy. Just a play with algebra. So that's just the whole thing. Just a play with algebra and all of those things. So thank you for attending. See you when I see you. Have fun.